This is going to be an uncomfortable message, and maybe some of y'all want to hear it, maybe some of y'all don't, but either way, you click the video, so we're going to talk about it. So when you're choosing your Sisterlock trainee, your Sisterlock consultant, or whoever it is that you're going to be using to do your locks, do not over-focus on the grid. Do not over-focus on the grid. Do not over-focus on the grid. Yes, the grid is important. We all know that. These are basically permanent parts that are being placed in your head, and we all want that, like, you know, when it drop, them parts be parting, we want that look right. That's great. But you also don't want nasty, dirty locks. So what I did was I put together a mannequin that basically has some lock concerns. So I can show you guys kind of what it is that you'll be running the risk of doing when you over focus on the parts. A lot of locticians post pictures of their clients' hair, and a lot of times those photos are in Bantu knots, which is fine, but the issue with that is you can't see the quality of the lock. So I think it's important to always represent or show kind of what your work looks like as a loctician. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So to start, I have my little mannequin here. Y'all say hi. Okay. I call her Nasty Locks, okay? Because I use her to demonstrate to my clients what you don't want to see in your locks, or what's going on in the back of their head, even if they can't see it sometimes, or on the sides, in addition to, of course, showing them through pictures and things, but just to give them an idea and also show them how it can be fixed if it can. So Miss Nasty Locks here, she got some holy locks. So as you guys know, these are the holes in your locks. These can be repaired, but if this was all in a Bantu knot and I'm just looking at the parts and the grid and how pretty the grid is, I'm not going to be able to see that maybe my loctician is inconsistent in the way that she's handling her interlocking skills. So looking at Miss Nasty Locks here, this is a different set of or a different lock I've pulled, and just showing you like the inconsistency in the pattern, so you can kind of get a feel for how it can be done wrong. Some of hers have a lot of knots in them as well, so I have put, where are they, knots in this mannequin to show people what can also happen if you're over tightening. So here we go, like at her scalp here, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but here she has knots right at the root of her hair, and as her hair grows out, it's going to be harder to maintain those reties because that knot is going to stay there. It's not going to go away. So that would need to be fixed. So these are just some common issues that can happen when you are choosing a loctician just because her grid is pretty and maybe she doesn't really have the interlocking skills down packed. Here's another one, and I even had something like this going on in my hair once upon a time, and I put a video, I'm like, hey, I got these, and y'all was like, girl, get a new loctician. But now I can kind of see how it happens, right? So see that lock, and you see that knot, you see? That's what I'm talking about. That's the stuff that you really want to avoid. So with your loctician, while you guys are on the hunt, just make sure you're asking to see some quality work. Like the pictures online are great, but I like to keep mannequins in my salon just to show people. So I also have this one here that I have kind of worked on to show the opposite effect, right? So you can kind of see how uniform these locks are. You can see that they don't have all of the holes Miss Nasty Locks had. The consistency is there on this mannequin. And she doesn't have a lot of issues, right? You can see her parts are still good. They're still clean. So I don't want it to sound like if they have good parts that they're really bad at quality. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the quality of the lock is equally as important as your grid. So don't over focus on the grid, ladies. Peace.
This is also why it's important when you're at your consultation to get your tester locks installed. I know a lot of locticians don't want to do it. It's time consuming or whatever, but this is your chance to see what your locks will actually look like. So don't let anybody play you out of getting that step done. Bye.